If I were filling in the area on a poster, the area blocked away from the light. This is in shadow. Another area, similar area is right here, and it defines the shape of that forehead and comes down beside the temple and then disappears into that curve. All right, a little bit more of that dark curving down from the crown of the hair, just a touch like that. And then under the base of the chin, under the angle of the jaw is a better way to say it, under the angle of the jaw, my pure deep dark. And then the vertical of that long tendril of hair coming straight down and eventually disappearing into the dark of the blouse, and then the curve of shadow there. I'm trying to show the shapes of the hair in just two values, the dark and the light. Over here on the other side, that dark has to be used to indicate the contour of the side of the face and the curve of the jawline, but then it rapidly drops down into a large area of shadow and all the way down the mass of the hair. All right. Other areas similar are right beside the forehead. And the reason we're painting them at this point is that these are areas where the main light, which is falling on the sitter's head, where that main light does not strike. That gives us our shadow tones. Now we need to mix a dark for the shadow side of the face. I'm going to start with my dark one. Remember what it is: Viridian, burnt sienna, cadmium orange. It's obviously too warm, so I'm going to first of all add some of my darkest neutral to reduce the intensity of it. And then I'm going to also add a little bit of chrome green into it. Sensing that might be a touch darker than I want it to be, I'm adding a touch of white. Let's try that. We're going to use that color to block in a postery way, all of the darks on the side of our subject's face. I'm going to ignore the subtleties that are there just by the hundreds. Well, hopefully, if we get time, we'll deal with some of those subtleties later. But for now, we want to just achieve a statement of the shadow areas on the face and the neck, and that includes the cast shadow on the throat. And we'll paint those two as if they were part of the same shadow, even though, of course, we can see many differences in them. Coming up this side of the face, that shadow defines the shape of the eye socket, comes over here and merges in with the dark of the shadow on the hair and continues on up along the side of the forehead and disappears there into the dark of the hair. Now with that color still on the brush, let me use it to state the shadow in the inside corner of the eye socket, and at the corner of the fullness of the eye. It shows that the eye has some dimension, and the fullness of the eye creates its own shadow, own form shadow, with the light on the eye socket separating those two shadows. Then, that color still on the brush, we want to define the shadow on the nose, trying to establish the shape of that very interesting shadow and indicate that it begins to go up the shadow side of the nose and change